Blah.
So for us, AI right now and how we're using multiple platforms to talk to each other, to create environments and also characters. We're starting to get into the character development side of things with AI as well. It's
Mid-Journey.
It's so exciting. Well, it's a combination of several platforms. Mid-Journey is one of them, and they all have. We are embracing them all, and they all have their merits and their downsides. You know, and so we're getting them all to talk to each other and work with each other. So you develop one part in one platform, feed it into another platform, and vice versa. So the human being who has to manage that cross-pollination, and I want to stress human beings are still very important and very much part of this process, you know, that they're as important as ever. But what AI is doing, of course, is expediting the process, allowing, you know, one person to create so much more. And look, you know, there's no question that AI is taking some people's jobs away. No question, that's going to happen. I mean, this is foretold by science fiction many years ago, right?
Yeah, but this is just a natural byproduct of technology and human civilization. There's always technology that comes along.
Right. And that's what I was going to say is this is the progress that you know, video technology just as one component has been on this course for a long, long time. And AI has been used in video production for 20 or 30, 20, 25 years now. You know, so this is just the next level of that. So I don't believe there's anything to fear from it. You know, some people, yes, of course, you know, some people, their work is going to be severely impacted, but I urge those particular individuals to embrace this technology rather than standing in a corner and fearing it, and using it to supercharge their own creative input, their own creative efforts. I think that's really the healthy way to look at it, and not be too concerned that it's going to destroy humanity, which maybe it will, but if it does, there's nothing we can do about it. Let's party while we can, you know.
Let's party while we can. I mean, yeah. You of all people to talk about AI with and filmmaking, I mean, you're like at the number one on my list, because it's like, first of all, you made iRobot, which deals with the three robotic laws, or whatever, of ethics for robots, as well as the what's it called, the zeroth law, which is
zeroth law. Yeah.
Spoilers if you haven't seen an almost 20-year-old movie. iRobot is basically the idea that AI will try to save, or no, AI cannot, something about inaction. AI will not harm humanity through, and will not harm humanity through inaction as well. And that's basically, go watch iRobot to get the full gist of that. But it's just interesting because I think at the core of it, the thing that people are so afraid of and getting so charged up about, and, you know, all the hysteria, I think it really comes down to that being possibly the most concerning thing. When I think about what concerns me about AI, it's something that it's where AI may not understand nuance. AI may not understand. It may be too literal. It may be not literal enough. And that's where things could go haywire. But at the end of the day, especially when it comes to filmmaking, and, you know, I understand, especially with the WGA strike and everything that's going on right now, and writers are up in arms about very serious issues that could affect, that will affect them. At the same time, I do watch their movies. Like, I was just at the movies the other day with my son. We were at Alamo, and, you know, no matter what anybody thinks or doesn't think about Marvel movies, we were watching Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and I'm watching it and I'm thinking to myself, I started thinking about AI, and I just go, I understand the concern, especially from like a writer's perspective, but I just don't understand how AI could ever capture heart. Or there are just these human things that go into writing that I don't think an artificial intelligence will ever be able to perfectly nail. You need the human element of creativity needs to be there to further flesh out specific nuance that maybe AI will never be able to understand.
Look, I don't think you can say that. I don't think you can ever say that. It's a bit like the scene in iRobot where Will Smith's character says to Sonny, the robot, will you ever be able to, write a symphony? Will you ever be able to write a great novel?
Yeah.
And Sonny says, can you? And, that's an interesting point because, that's a fundamental kind of misunderstanding of what the creative process is. Look, I don't, none of us know how far it's going to go. I mean, it begs the question of what is intelligence, what is consciousness,
Right. That's
when
the core
will
of it.
when will machines become self-aware? Will they become self-aware?
Right.
We don't know that. We don't know the answers to those questions. There's no question for me, though, on the flip side, that if you feed in 10 seasons of and look, before I say this, I've tried, I jumped onto ChatGPT.
Yeah, ChatGPT.
And went, okay, ChatGPT, let's see you write a script. And it was the most ridiculous experience I've ever had. The worst co-writer I've ever had, I started off going, okay, write me a 100-page script. Off you go. Here are the characters. Boom. Couldn't do it, and then it wrote me the most formulaic, ridiculous thing that I would have had to feed so much stuff into it to align it into something, as you say, with a heart or something with a human, vision.
Right.
That I might as well just write it myself, or work with a really good co-writer, a human co-writer, which would be much better. However, I believe even now, probably, and ChatGPT is very good at writing, university papers and whatever, because those don't rely on that narrative, that human narrative, that human heart, that human soul to be put into it. But I tell you what, ChatGPT is awfully good at mimicking. So if you feed it 10 seasons, episodes of successful TV series, there's no question that if it can't write you season 11, so that even the audience who love that, the fans of that show, can probably not tell the difference, I would be surprised, right? So that's now hitting the WGA hard. And look, I'm WGA, don't get me wrong, and I like my WGA, brothers and sisters. So of course, it's hitting that part of the industry hard. It's going to hit it really hard, and I completely understand why they're trying to stop the floodgates. They're not going to succeed. The floodgates are going to open, right? Because as soon as people can make money or can increase their bottom line, they're going to do it. The corporations are going to do it. There's no way you're going to legislate it, right? Yeah. So, okay, he says, look, I'm not concerned about that particular part of it, other than, as I say, for my colleagues in the WGA, who I don't want them to see them out without work. But what I do, I honestly don't care. I mean, I'm only doing my own IP at the moment. I'm writing it all. As I say, I've tried ChatGPT to come up with an original story. It's fucking hopeless, And so for me, I'm using AI in the areas that I can expedite my methodology, which is in the visuals, creating visuals, creating sound, et cetera, et cetera. And I see nothing but upside there, There's an anecdote that I often relate about, in the 1990s, I would go into an elevator in New York City, and there'd be this old guy sitting on a stool who'd say to you, what floor would you like? And you'd say, 27, and he'd press the button for you, right? Right, of course, yeah. And that guy was there in that lift before it was automated, when the old days when you had to do bellhops. Yeah, and you had to open up the cage. Sure, I used to use one of those. Yeah. And the unions were ensuring that he was there till the day he wanted to retire, even though his job was completely redundant, right? there's automation and technology making someone redundant. And I fear that, you know, there's a lot of people in a lot of industries right now who are in that position. So unless you can retrain, move into another area, you're going to end up as that guy in that automated elevator, you know. So, and maybe not even that, because, you know, the corporations are certainly have a much more of a stranglehold on work and unions and stuff these days than they did back in that day in New York City, you know. So there you go. I think that's the simple version of the world we're in right now.
No, that is. And it's really interesting to hear your thoughts, especially just considering all those things. And I wonder, I mean, I can only imagine how you've watched AI grow. And I mean, AI has probably been on your radar a lot longer than the general consciousness, because from just making that movie. And you just seem like, you know, just from the movies that you make, you seem like you're really, you're really into all sorts of philosophical and deep sort of topics. And before we launch into, I really want to talk about Dark City, but before we talk about Dark City, I have, first of all, Nicolas Cage is my favorite actor